Thanks for tuning in to Red Belt Radio. The following episode is scheduled for one fall. I'm Jason, and this show is dedicated to World Wonder Ring Stardom. Today, I'm covering the top candidates for Stardom's 2023 Wrestler of the Year and where they currently stand, in my humble opinion. It's safe to say that 2023 for Stardom has not gone at all according to plan. What started out as initially a truly impressive, spellbinding first half of the year has been dismantled by a mix of untimely injuries and an overworked roster. Since at least November 28th, Stardom has been picking up the pieces of several broken game plans, and as we await this promotion's inevitable redemption arc, let's take time out to celebrate the stars that have shined the brightest this year. If you find these transmissions valuable, please give this a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment to let me know what you think. Keep in mind that I do not intend to make my final Wrestler of the Year pick until the year actually comes to an end. The final shows of 2023 will ultimately factor into the decision-making process. We shall now begin with honorable mentions, with our first honorable mention being a bittersweet one. The Golden Phoenix, Saya Kamitani of Queen's Quest, should be congratulated for making this list in the first place, considering the fact that her heartbreaking injury in July immediately terminated any hope of a 5-star tournament or goddess tournament run. When looking at the first 6 months of 2023, it's hard to find a more magnificent resume. Saya shattered the white belt title defense record. She took center stage in 2 of the best storylines of the year, those being the white belt feud with Mina Shirakawa and the Aphrodite schism-turned all-out war between Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai. She wrestled in 4 of Stardom's best matches of 2023. The white belt title defense against Hazuki, the white belt title defense against Mina Shirakawa at All-Star Grand Queendom, the first generational struggle match at Korakuen Hall, and the 6 vs 6 all-out war cage match against Oedo Tai at Stardom Sunshine. In an alternate universe where Saya doesn't get hurt on the opening night of the 5-star and ultimately goes on to win the 5-star, we could be having an extremely different conversation right now. But in this universe, Saya missed out on 2 out of 4 Stardom tournaments and was eliminated on the first night of this year's Cinderella. So her significant tournament absences, combined with an overall amount of time off, relegates her to being a very, very honorable mention. The fact that Saya has since experienced a fairy tale return, starting with a show on her birthday, alongside her closest friend, Utami Hayashishita, and culminating in a goddess title victory with Utami, should leave us very optimistic for her capabilities and success in the new year. It shouldn't be surprising, but I can't say enough good things about what Kamitani has done in 2023, and some of those things deserve their own separate form of coverage, so we will move on for now. Our next honorable mention is the current white belt champion, Mirai of God's Eye. Mirai was heavily pushed this year, reaching the finals of the Triangle Derby and the finals of the New Blood Tag Tournament, in addition to winning the Cinderella Tournament for the 2nd year in a row, winning the Goddess Tag titles alongside Ami Sourei, defeating Tam Nakano to become white belt champion, having more than one impressive match in the 5-star Grand Prix, and at the time of this recording, bolstering 3 consecutive white belt defenses. This is an insane resume and really points out just how competitive and absurdly talented Stardom's lineup is at the end of the day. The only thing that has tripped up Mirai this year is a lack of compelling storytelling and chemistry. And even these things are being improved upon all the time. That being said, the handling of the Cinderella tournament was underwhelming, and the New Era's tag run was almost universally disliked. Mirai fought in part of the generational struggle, but it's possible you forgot about her being there. No offense. Also, the feud with Tam Nakano was awkward, and the white belt title run has been solid, but confusing at the same time. I liked the Konami match and the Momo Watanabe match, but they both told the same story in my eyes. And now Mirai is facing the same person, Saori Ano, twice in a row, and therefore runs the risk of telling yet another familiar story. With different execution, Mirai's successes could have very easily put her at the top of 2023. But I don't think the execution has fully been there. My appreciation of Mirai, however, has really grown this year, and I feel like I get her now. My final 3 honorable mentions will occur via lightning round. Let's go. Mei Seira has been nothing short of fantastic in the ring and extremely endearing outside of it. She's faced the passion of Nanae Takahashi, won the high-speed belt after chasing Saki Kashima, and reached the finals of the Goddess Tag League. But she has no other tournament appearances and hasn't done a lot in the way of main events. Natsupoi has delivered in all possible ways this year, first winning the artist belts with Restart, then challenging Mina Shirakawa in a white belt main event. Then main eventing once more against Saori Ano in a grueling Indian strap match, with that feud and reconciliation being one of the other greatest stories for Stardom in 2023. Then winning the Goddess titles alongside Saori, before having an utterly killer 5-star Grand Prix run, which ultimately drove her to the point of injury, from which she is still recovering. Natsupoi vs. Shuri in the 5-star deserves a rewatch or 2 from me, as it might be my pick for best 5-star match this year. Regardless, Natsupoi's 2 title reigns have been short-lived, and her absence has cost her when this 2023 race is just so hotly contested. Utami Hayashishita is the last of my honorable mentions, with her 2023 momentum even propelling her to the United States for a handful of matches before being stopped by injury in the latter half of the 5-star Grand Prix. I think Utami has only challenged for the Artists and IWGP titles in 2023, at least prior to winning the Goddess belts this winter, and therefore she's mostly missing accolades and ring time, despite excelling in other categories. We finally reached the apex of our discussion today, progressing beyond our honorable mentions to the most prestigious of our nominees. Julia of DDM is first. She began the year as Red Belt champion and headlined Stardom's biggest show of the year, Grand Queendom, in a Red Belt title match with Tam Nakano. As usual, Julia turned many of her encounters into feuds and currently stands proudly as a double champion. Her seizing of the artist belts with Bari Bari Bombers and her hold over the New Japan Women's Strong Belt in particular has added to her already noteworthy aura. She's defended the Strong Belt many times, including multiple times in America. She fought in the generational struggle and had what was, in my opinion, a pretty underrated 5-star battle with Micah at Korakuen Hall. Where others have been sidelined, Julia has remained, keeping cards full, main eventing, and drawing attention from larger promotions. It's possible that 2023 is not only Julia's year, but also Julia's last year in Stardom. Saori Ano of Cosmic Angels is next. Overperforming and exceeding our expectations from the moment she arrived to rescue the Angels faction from despair. She's won the Artist belts with Restart, told a phenomenal story as Natsupoi's rival leading up to their pay-per-view main event, only to win the Goddess belts with Natsupoi and do the unthinkable, legitimately generate a tag team that might even rival Meltier itself. Saori was one of the biggest heroes and MVPs of the 5-Star Grand Prix, going to bloody war with Julia on the opening night and getting big wins over both Mirai and Mina Shirakawa. Most recently, she drove Mirai to the absolute limit in a white belt pay-per-view main event during a 30-minute draw in which Mirai unloaded her entire arsenal, every single move she had, and still couldn't win. That alone is crazy. But now Saori must really do something special and make the immediate rematch, second chapter, land on target. The fact that Saori did all of this while working other promotions, wrestling in America twice, and not getting injured like so many others is proof that some good in the universe does exist. And if Saori can pull off one of the best white belt matches of the year at Dream Queendom, don't be surprised to see her clawing towards the top of a lot of people's 2023 lists. I will mention the next two candidates together because it is now impossible to think about one without inevitably thinking about the other. Suzu Suzuki and Maika. They're doing a phenomenal job promoting what might be the biggest night yet in their Stardom careers, and how their match ultimately plays out could determine whether or not I select one of these women as my 2023 Wrestler of the Year. The resumes are both loaded at this point, with multiple tournament wins on either side, on top of finals appearances and unbridled barn burner matches. Suzu challenged for the red belt at the beginning of the year, held the Artist belts, and was primed to challenge Tam Nakano for the red belt before injury had other thoughts. Maika's year hasn't been as prestigious, though she has challenged for the Goddess belts twice at this point. And funnily enough, these two were working together for much of the year, and even cost themselves an Artist title by way of their infighting. Don't ask me what the hell is going to happen at Dream Queendom, because that's for another transmission. What does matter is that both of these wrestlers are now on the biggest of Stardom stages because of all the insanity that has been erupting around them. They've continued fighting in spite of everything, and now they share a giant spotlight. One will be elevated over the other. And while I have my preference, I'm still overjoyed that Maika has reached an all-time high in terms of level of media and fan support. We end with the final nominee, the top kawaii of the cosmos, Tam Nakano of Cosmic Angels. You might have forgotten that Tam Nakano helped engineer one of the best storylines and moments of the year, which was Waka Tsukiyama's journey to getting her first ever win. Tam took that Cosmic Angels story and ran with it, progressing to the departure of Mina Shirakawa and Club Venus, the arrival of Saori Ano, and the recruitment process and ultimately the acceptance of Yuna Mizumori. This is just a small demonstration of the fact that Tam Nakano makes everything around her more meaningful by endlessly searching for a storyline. We can also obviously talk about her accolades, winning the red belt against her bitter rival at Stardom's biggest show of all time, defeating the woman who deserted her, and becoming the second ever person to hold the red and white belts simultaneously. Having a Cinderella tournament run that lasted more than one night, going all out at the 5-star GP, and even defeating Shuri for the first time there. There's also the uncanny resolve she displayed on both the night that Saya Kamitani was injured and the night that she herself was injured. When the lights are on Tam Nakano, she performs, and when things go wrong, she works through it because the show must go on. And by all accounts, it sounds like the show will go on for Nakano, whose return to stardom seems to be imminent. Unfortunately for her, a portion of the year was marred by a very rough injury, and that injury led to the vacating of her red belt title. Is this enough to unbalance her otherwise impressive year? I'm honestly still trying to decide. My ultimate decision will have to wait, as Dream Queendom draws very near, and there is still much to be sorted out for this promotion and its stars. One thing is for sure, we're going to be talking about 2023 Stardom for a good long while. If you found this transmission valuable, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment to let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to Red Belt Radio.